I don't really know where to begin with this one. Today, I just wanted to try my best to talk about this crazy, crazy movie. It's called 100 Girls. The guy that directed this movie, his name is Michael Davis. He did a movie called 8 Days a Week. That was a comedy, pretty well received. He also was a writer on the movie Shoot 'Em Up and was involved in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Those are movies I like. I mean, I really don't know what happened here. So basically, this movie follows a guy named Matthew. He is in an elevator at a girl's dorm. The elevator stops working. There's a blackout. There's a girl in the elevator with him, and he doesn't see what she looks like, doesn't know who she is, and they end up hooking up. And she gets away before he can find out what her name is or anything like that. And the only thing she leaves behind is her underwear. So he decides that he's going to go through the entire dorm and match the underwear to a bra, and whoever's bra matches is his one true love. So to find the girl of his dreams, he decides to break into all these girls' dorm rooms, and he does this in various ways. He glues some of their locks shut so that they can't lock their doors. He releases mice into the building to distract them. He calls this one girl on the phone and tells her she won a car from a radio station. I think he breaks a girl's window at one point with a BB gun. So, crimes. And he does this to try and match the panties to a bra, and that's gonna find his dream girl, Cinderella, with lingerie. That's what this is. I've seen this twice. So this movie is ridiculous. It's not good, but it was really funny because I've seen this before. I saw it when I was younger, probably like years ago, and it's one of those things where you remember a movie a lot differently than what it actually was when you're younger. And from what I remember, this was just like a cute romantic comedy. This is a movie that is, for some reason, trying to be really feminist and at the same time the most sexist thing I've ever seen. It's the only way I can think to describe it. There are other girl characters in this movie that we follow around, and it's just so strange because there are some moments in this movie that do have a good message, a good thing to say. There is Cynthia, who's played by Jamie Presley, and she's the hot girl in the movie, and he can only speak gibberish when he talks to her. And she gets all these guys to do all these things for her, but at the same time, there's this moment where she says, nothing in life has been a challenge for me. I get everything easy because I'm attractive, and if she ever did accomplish anything for herself, that everyone would just assume it was because of the way she looked and not because she actually earned it. And that's such an interesting idea that they really take nowhere. I mean, her only arc in this movie is that she finds out that she can kick really hard. There's also Wendy, who he went to high school with, and she is described as a mom type, and he says if you married someone like her, you would be settling for the average. There's also Arlene, played by Katherine Heigl, when she was pretty young, and first thing he says about her is that it's a bad sign when a girl wears no makeup. She's supposed to be kind of the tomboy of the movie. She makes him play strip foosball. I mean, this kid, it's just so clear that he was like that one kid in high school that was the nice guy who was friend-zoned and just believes all you have to do is be nice to a girl, and if you do, then she has to hook up with you or date you or both. I had to start a tally of all the times he talks about how attractive he is, how smart he is, and all the times he talks about his manhood. There's also a woman in the movie named Dora who he describes as ugly, and this is a picture of that actress, by the way. He says that her being ugly has made her a failure by default. There's also another girl in this movie named Patty, and she is the slut of the movie. He describes her as having a skanky cuteness and says that she would be a great girl to practice on, which he does a couple times. They hook up in this movie, and he says that Patty is just kind of a girl to him. He doesn't have any feelings for her. She knows that. She knows that he likes somebody else and that he's not interested in her, and he's trying to find this dream girl. He also saves her, quote unquote, from her abusive boyfriend named Crick, who is huge, muscular, and has a man ponytail. And the way he defeats Crick is by dressing him down with his wits. He just tells him all these horrible things, makes fun of him, and Crick really does nothing. Except they get into, a titty twister battle. I mean, there's a slow-mo titty twister battle. Yeah. Oh man. There's so many things. There's so many things I could get into with this that I don't even know. I don't even really know how to do it. At one point in this movie, he dresses up in drag to try and find out who this girl that he is in love with is. He calls himself Francesca, and at one point, Crick tries to assault him when he's dressed up as Francesca. And again, we have a really good, kind of perspective on things where he says that when this is happening, he freezes and doesn't know what to do. He says that he's too ashamed to talk about it with anybody or admit it. And you kind of see that he can start to understand the girl's perspective a little bit. But the way that this is resolved is he confronts Crick, not in drag, and says that he assaulted him, and he has a piece of his tongue, which he bit off in that confrontation, to show him and to prove it. And he says that his bravery inspires the other girls to say, he did it to me too. Don't worry, girls. Matthew started the Me Too movement. He's got us. He is our champion. He literally, says that his bravery inspired these women to do this. And it's so self-centered. They really take something that could have been such an interesting moment and just obliterate it like everything else in this movie. He keeps trying to figure out who this girl is. He can't figure out who it is. At the very end of the school year, he decides he's going to make this huge speech to all the girls in the dorm at the same time and see if the girl comes forward. He's put an ad out in the paper to try and find this girl, and none of it's worked. Gone undercover, all this stuff. So he makes this huge speech, and it is filled with stereotypes about women, about men. I mean, I watched this with my husband and Ryan, and they were just embarrassed. I mean, it's uncomfortable. They felt like this movie was just really, really demeaning to men as well as women, which is crazy. And I'm not going to get into the entire speech, and I'm not going to get into every quote that he makes throughout this movie, but here's a list of some. So that's what we're working with on this. And all of this is done to find out that Patty was the girl the entire time. And did he figure this out on his own merit? Oh, no. He finds this out by going to the wrong girl's room. She tells him that it's not her. And by just simply a process of elimination, finds out that it is Patty. And she rejects him at first because she felt like she tried to make him fall in love with her by hooking up with him, by talking to him, and he just wasn't interested in her in that way. So good for you, Patty. But of course, in the end, he ends up getting the girl really just by staring at her until she lets him take her clothes off, which, dear Lord. Anyway, so really no redeemable qualities for this character. I mean, the only good character arcs have to do with the women that have nothing to do with him. At a certain point in the movie, Wendy reveals that she's a lesbian, and once again, we have kind of a good character build here. She is not defined by her sexuality this entire movie. She's very neat and tidy and kind of being brought down by the fact that everybody thinks that she's this perfect girl. She doesn't want to be perfect all the time. So it really had nothing to do with her personality, which is really surprising in this movie. It's a really good thing that she wasn't defined by that, and they just don't really do anything with it. She ends up with Katherine Heigl's character, who never reveals that she's a lesbian on screen. Just, that's how they end up closing off that character arc for them. It's just bad, guys. I mean, I hope that nobody sees this movie. Please don't see this movie. I just really had to get this out and talk about it because I saw this a while ago and it still bugs me to this day. If you've seen it before, let us know your thoughts. I'll leave a link to the IMDB page where in the trivia they have the entire last speech that he makes, so you can kind of get an idea of what this movie is like. And just be sure to comment, subscribe if you want to. Just let us know what kind of stuff you want to see. We love having conversations and we'd love to answer your comments. And so yeah, that's this movie, and till next time.